Ishi-no-Hoden, the floating stone, carved from a single block of tuff, a dense volcanic ash stone, weighing approximately 500 tons. That is heavier than any block used in the Great Pyramid at Giza, and comparable to the trilithon stones at Baalbek in Lebanon, some of the largest worked stones in the ancient world. Ishi-no-Hoden is shaped into two vertically oriented rectangular forms joined together, with a protruding ridge along the top. The surfaces are smooth, the edges are straight, the angles are precise. On the winter solstice, the sun rises aligned with the ridge on the stone's eastern face. Astronomical modeling places that alignment most precisely around 8,600 BCE. A Shinto shrine was built around the stone centuries later, but the monolith itself has never been reliably dated. Water flows continuously from beneath it. It has never been known to run dry, even during severe drought. Whether this is a natural spring or part of an engineered system is unknown. But the parallel to the Osireion at Abydos in Egypt, where a megalithic structure sits above a permanent, artificially channeled water source, is worth noting. Two monoliths, both shaped with clean edges and flat surfaces, both weighing hundreds of tons, both with no surviving record of who made them or when. In a country that meticulously documented its construction methods during the feudal period, these stones appear in none of those records. A short walk from Masuda-no-Iwafune leads to more of the same. Sakafune Ishi, the stone boat, is a 3-meter granite block carved from a single piece, hollowed into a basin with circular and oval channels worked into the upper surface. Granite is one of the hardest materials on Earth. The precision of the curved channels is inconsistent with any documented Japanese toolkit of any period. A few hundred meters further sits the Ishibutai Kofun, the stone stage, assembled from massive granite slabs. The largest, forming the ceiling of the tomb chamber, weighs approximately 140 tons. The upright side slabs weigh around 60 tons each. The earthen mound that once covered the structure has eroded away, exposing the raw stone assembly. The methods used to quarry, transport, and lift these blocks into configuration are not recorded anywhere. And that pattern repeats at a much larger scale. Osaka Castle is a 16th century landmark, but the castle sits on a foundation that did not come from the 16th century. The platform beneath is built from gigantic stone blocks fitted together without mortar. The joints are tight, the blocks interlock. The largest, known as the octopus stone, weighs approximately 800 tons. There is no record explaining how it was quarried or transported. The medieval Japanese who built the castle used a technique called burdock piling, large rocks stacked with gaps filled by pebbles and smaller stones. It was sophisticated for its era. Their methods were documented in detail during the feudal period. Every tool was accounted for, every technique was recorded. But nowhere in those records is there any mention of building the megalithic foundations. The surfaces of the foundation stones show significant weathering, far more than the castle walls above them. The construction style is different, the scale is different, the precision is different, and the megalithic platform is earthquake-resistant by design. Interlocking stones without mortar absorb seismic movement rather than fracturing. In one of the most seismically active regions on Earth, this foundation has survived everything history has thrown at it. The documented feudal work sits on top of it. The same pattern appears at Edo Castle in Tokyo, where precisely cut blocks form walls around the imperial palace grounds. The same tight-fitting, mortarless construction, the same absence from historical records. The extraction sites tell a parallel story. Mount Nokogiri, Saw Mountain, in Chiba Prefecture, was used as a stone quarry during the Edo period from 1603 to 1868. But the defining features of the site are difficult to reconcile with the chisel and wedge toolkit the Edo period used elsewhere. Vertical parallel cuts run up rock faces as high as 30 meters. 90-degree corners are carved straight into the mountain. Polished surfaces line arched passageways. The cut patterns closely resemble those produced by modern mechanized drilling. Further north, the Oya Stone Quarry at Utsunomiya extends 60 meters below ground level, carved entirely out of solid rock. The interior has a perfectly flat floor, clean 90-degree angled cuts throughout, and parallel grooves lining the walls. The closest visual parallels are not Japanese. They are the Longyu Caves and Huashan Grottos in central China, more than 1,800 kilometers away. Then there are the tombs. Japan contains thousands of earthen burial mounds called kofun, most of them unexcavated. The largest is the Daisen Kofun in the Mozu group near Osaka, 1,600 feet long, keyhole-shaped in plan, surrounded by moats. Its surface area is larger than that of the Great Pyramid at Giza, making it the largest tomb by area anywhere on Earth. The Mozu Group was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2019. The traditional attribution is to Emperor Nintoku of the 5th century, drawn from a textual reference written hundreds of years after the tomb's construction. The Imperial Household Agency prohibits archaeological excavation or entry into most of these sites. The interior contents of the Daisen Kofun remain unknown. The rock-cut sites add more. At Yoshimi Hyakuana in Saitama, 216 burial chambers are carved directly into a single hillside, each with a square entrance leading to a domed interior. At Ishi-no-Nagino in Nagasaki, 48 interconnected chambers line a 250-meter rock formation, with finished interior walls and some chambers large enough to suggest functions beyond burial. The carving required extracting thousands of tons of rock through the narrow cave entrances, from the inside out. No record describes the method. Two shared features argue the Japanese megaliths are part of a wider pattern rather than isolated local accidents. At the Ueyama Kofun in Asuka, two horizontal pink granite coffin chambers sit side by side, showing 90-degree internal corners, smooth surfaces, and protruding knobs at regular intervals along the stone. Knobs of the same geometry appear on polygonal walls at Sacsayhuaman in Peru, on the unfinished block at the Yangshan Quarry in China, and on temple stones from Egypt. The second shared feature is metallurgical. On the Nakanoman stone wall, blocks are joined by iron clamps embedded in channels cut into adjacent stones. The same clamping system appears on megalithic stonework at Ollantaytambo in Peru, at Pumapunku in Bolivia, and on the walls of the Temple of Osiris at Abydos. The clamp geometries and alloy compositions are close enough across the sites that independent invention is a weak explanation. This is a pattern that appears across the ancient world. At Sacsayhuaman in Peru, the lowest courses are fitted to sub-millimeter precision. The upper courses, attributed to the Inca period, are rough fieldstone. At the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, Herodian masonry sits on top of earlier megalithic blocks that predate any documented construction phase. At Baalbek, Roman temples sit on a platform of stones so large that no Roman engineering text describes how to move them. In each case, the finest work is at the bottom. The cruder work is on top. A later civilization found what an earlier one had built and continued building on top of it with whatever skills they had. And then there is what lies underwater. In 1986, a diver named Kihachiro Aratake was scouting for hammerhead shark sites near the island of Yonaguni, the southernmost of the Ryukyu Islands. He surfaced reporting geometric rock formations that looked too regular for natural sandstone. Professor Masaki Kimura of the University of the Ryukyus led the subsequent investigation. The largest feature extends 90 meters at its base and rises 25 meters above the seafloor. It has terraces, stepped surfaces, what appear to be columns, and a flat top. Across 3 decades of fieldwork, Kimura has argued that the site was worked above water and submerged when sea levels rose at the end of the last ice age. Mainstream Japanese geology attributes the features to sandstone fracturing along bedding planes, a process that can produce straight lines and approximate right angles in tectonically active zones. The debate has not been resolved. If Kimura is correct, whoever worked the Yonaguni sandstone did so at a date that predates the earliest recognized civilization in Japan by several thousand years. The Japanese feudal masons knew how to cut stone. They documented their limits. 800-ton granite monoliths were not within those limits. Mortarless, earthquake-resistant foundations were not within those limits. And yet both exist, underneath the work that was documented, weathered beyond it, and belonging to no known period of Japanese history. Japan recorded everything. These stones appear in none of it. The precision is still visible. The records are still silent. If you want to support deeper research and found this journey as fascinating as we did, subscribe to Ancient Epochs for more.